All right, let's dive into something we all think we know about: fat. But what if I told you there's a whole secret world hiding behind that simple little word? We're going to uncover the absolutely vital roles these molecules play in our bodies, from building ourselves to, yeah, even powering our thoughts. Let's get into it. You hear this all the time, right? Is fat good? Is it bad for you? Well, the truth is, it's not some simple villain or hero in our health story. The real story is way, way more interesting. So the question isn't really friend or foe. It's more about understanding which fats do what inside our bodies. So, to really get this right, we've got to use the right language. You see, scientists don't just say fat. They use a much broader, more accurate term: lipids. And this is a huge, diverse family of molecules that are absolutely essential for life. And their job descriptions, they go way beyond what you might think. So, what are their main gigs? Well, lipids form the very skin of our cells. They're the gatekeepers. They're also our body's main long-term fuel tank, storing up energy for when we need it later. Plus, they act as messengers, carrying critical signals that control all sorts of bodily functions. And they even help us digest our food. I mean, they're the ultimate biological multitaskers.
Okay, so how are these incredible structures even built? Well, like any great construction project, it all starts with one fundamental building block, and that's the fatty acid chain.
So this is it. This is the basic blueprint. A fatty acid is pretty much just a long chain of carbon and hydrogen atoms with a special little acidic group at one end. Think of it like a single Lego brick. From this one simple piece, we can build almost any lipid structure you can imagine. Now, this is where it gets really cool. The actual shape of that chain makes all the difference in the world. Saturated fatty acids, they're totally straight and rigid because all their carbon atoms are completely saturated with hydrogen. But unsaturated fatty acids have at least one double bond, and this one little thing creates a sharp kink, a bend in the chain. And trust me, that kink changes everything. To really get a picture of this, think about stacking logs. Saturated fats are like perfectly straight, neat logs. They pack together really tightly, and that's why stuff like butter is solid when it's just sitting on your counter. Unsaturated fats, on the other hand, are like kinked, bent logs. You can't stack them neatly at all, so they stay fluid and liquid just like olive oil. That one tiny bend in the molecule makes all that visible difference. And what's really fascinating is that nature just loves this kinked shape, which chemists call a cis conformation. Now, those infamous trans fats you're always hearing about, they're often created in a lab by artificially straightening out these natural kinks. It's such a tiny chemical change, but it has massive consequences for our health. Okay, so we've got our building blocks. Now let's see what happens when the body actually starts putting them together to build these larger, functional molecules. The ones for storing energy and, for building the very structure of our cells. Right, so when your body needs to store energy for the long haul, we're talking hours, days, even weeks, it packages fatty acids into a molecule called a triglyceride. This is the main form of stored fat in our bodies. It is our primary energy reserve. And how it's built is actually super simple. The body takes a 3-carbon backbone. It's called glycerol. And then it just attaches 3 of those fatty acid tails to it. That's it. Voila. You have a triglyceride, a really compact, energy-dense molecule that's perfectly designed for storage. But lipids aren't just for energy. Let me introduce you to the phospholipid. Now, it's kind of similar to a triglyceride, but it has this critical twist. It has a head that loves water and 2 fatty acid tails that are terrified of it. This two-faced love-hate nature is basically its superpower. Because of that love-hate thing with water, phospholipids just naturally arrange themselves into this perfect double layer, which forms the membrane of every single cell in your body. They're like the bouncers at a club, creating a barrier that meticulously controls every single thing that gets in or out. Now, our bodies are amazing chemical factories, for sure, but they can't make everything from scratch. There are a few key fatty acid building blocks that we absolutely have to get from our diet. They're so important, they're called essential fatty acids. So here's a question for you. How many do you think are on this critical must-eat list? You might be expecting a really long, complicated list, right? But the answer is surprisingly simple. There are just 2. Out of all the different fatty acids we use, only 2 of them are completely non-negotiable because our bodies just don't have the machinery to build them from scratch. And here they are: linoleic acid, which is an omega-6 fatty acid you'll find in a lot of vegetable oils, and alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA. That's a famous omega-3 you'll find in plant sources like flaxseed and walnuts. These two are the starting point for a whole family of incredibly important signaling molecules in the body.
But here's the catch, and this is a really crucial point. It's not just about getting that plant-based ALA. Our body uses it as a starting material, and it tries to convert it into even more powerful omega-3s called EPA and DHA. These are vital for brain health and keeping inflammation in check. The problem? This conversion process is, well, notoriously inefficient. That's why getting EPA and DHA directly from sources like fish and krill oil is so effective. It's like you're taking a shortcut, completely bypassing the body's slow and kind of lazy conversion factory. So let's just pull this all together. From these simple little chains to complex cell walls and powerful hormones, lipids are absolutely fundamental to who we are and how our bodies function every single second.
Think of it like your body's essential lipid toolkits. You've got phospholipids, and they're building the very walls of your cellular houses. You've got triglycerides, which are acting like these high-capacity power banks. And you've got the essential fatty acids, serving as the raw materials for critical communication signals. You literally cannot live without any of them. And that really brings us to the final thought. Every single meal you eat is providing the building blocks, the straight logs and the kinked logs, that your body uses to construct and maintain itself. So, knowing what you know now about the secret life of fats, what will you choose to build with?